Good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Living Lives. Today, I always start with what's in my diffuser, and what's in my diffuser today is a DoTerra's Align blend. And the reason it's a centering blend, and the reason I chose that is because it's about trusting in self and being open to all the possibilities. And when you hear about my guest today, you're going to see that it's the perfect blend, I think, for when I talk with my guests. So today we have Taylor Clark, who is the pure embodiment of being unapologetically herself. She is fearless in the pursuit of living her dreams and unafraid to put it out there for the world to watch. In pursuing passions, wherever the wind takes her, she's become a multi-passionate entrepreneur and living what she loves. Her mission is to be a light that shows others anything is possible, and that she is meant to be and that life is meant to be lived. And I think she's the perfect guest for Living Lives, it's because she fits right in with what I do. So welcome, Taylor.
Hello. Thank you.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for joining me today.
Yeah.
And what I like to start with, when I have guests, is to just ask them, brief story on how you got to where you are today.
Ooh. Well, I don't even know where I am yet. I'm still on the journey of figuring that all out.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I guess like a 2-second recap. I grew up with two entrepreneur parents. So I kind of was always told I could do whatever I wanted in life. If you worked hard enough, you can do it. So that was kind of always my mentality. And the older I got, they were like, gotta go to college. I was like, all right, I'll go to college, but I don't know what I want to do. So I kind of just picked out of the air the funnest thing I could think of, which was fashion design. Totally changed the trajectory of my life. I moved from New York to Los Angeles, and it was literally the time of my life. Then I got another degree in business. While I was there, I studied abroad. Traveling in that capacity completely changed my life again. And then I went home after college, all sad that I wasn't doing any of that anymore. Fell into a little bit of a rut, which I think most people who graduate these days fall into because they're in debt. They're not doing what they went to school for, or they're not doing what they wanted to their entire lives. So I ended up having a viral moment with Gary Vee, and that launched my life again into a totally new direction, to just really committing to figuring out what it was I wanted. And for the last 4 or 5 years, that's basically what I've been doing.
Cool. Can you tell us a little about your viral moment with Gary?
Yeah, so it was one of those Ask Gary Vee shows that he does. It was live on YouTube, and I was just watching it and saw all the numbers and the comments scrolling up and disappearing, and I had just assumed that's how you get on the show. I put my number in there, it scrolled up, it disappeared, and then the YouTube crashed. So I ended up going back to what I was doing, which I think was watching TV. And within a couple minutes, maybe 2-3 minutes, I was the one getting the call from a New York City area code. And I almost didn't answer it because I thought it was a telemarketer. But thank God I did.
Yeah.
And so answered the phone. He's like, it's Gary Vee. And I did not have a question at the time. So I just kind of came up with one, and it was just where I was in life. I was in a rut. I didn't know how to get out of it. I'm an entrepreneur. I work for everything I have. I'm a hustler. Like, it's in my bones, it's in my blood.
Yeah.
And so the whole conversation ended up being like almost 20 minutes, and it ended up going massively viral. I think it's his top 3 like most viewed videos ever. And yeah, it was just about that. It was try everything, get to work, no excuses, all the advice he gives everyone all the time. And it just hit me in a different way, even though I heard it from my parents whole life. So it was a very surreal moment.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's so what are you doing right now? What's your passion
So
right now?
right
What part of
now
the career?
I'm in a little transition period.
Okay.
The last 4 years I spent most of my time on myself. So I invested a lot into personal development, into going to conferences and events, reading books, taking courses. I did it all. So I feel like I got my master's in mindset. And
Okay.
now I'm working on the financial bit as far as business goes. I was dabbling in it across the last 4 years, but I haven't really committed to anything
Okay.
until more recently. So since COVID last year, I had always worked for my mom's company, which is a catering company. And I was mostly in the graphic design, marketing kind of a
Mhm.
world. And I kind of took that skill set that I had learned over the last couple of years and formed it to myself. And I rebranded my whole Instagram. I have a new logo and website that's being launched soon. And I kind of went full time content creator. So
Okay.
for me, I do a lot of photo shoots these days. I do podcasts. I do collaborations with local photographers. But one of the things that I realized lately was since I work for myself and I make my own income now, what do I want to do? Like, what
Yeah.
really do I want to do? And it brought me back to kind of childhood dreams. And acting was always something that I wanted to try. And since I
Oh,
had a
cool.
lot of time during COVID and quarantine, I read a lot of books. So fell back into reading all the fun, like Harry Potter world, fantasy, sci-fi
Mhm.
things. And one of my favorite series ended up announcing that they're going to be turning into a Hulu show. So
Oh,
I literally, when I read that book, the main character is me, and I lived through those books. I almost want to read them again, actually. And that kind of relaunched my childhood dream of I really want to try this acting thing. The
okay.
only fear I have in life these days is a fear of regret when I get older. So for me, I'm like, you know what? Screw it. Let's do this. So talked to a friend who's been in acting a couple of years. He helped me get into the community, and within my first month I got an agency. I landed 4 commercials in like my first couple months. I landed
Cool.
a huge feature film that came to Buffalo and filmed over the summer. And then I just landed 2 lead roles, one in a student film and one in a short film that are both filmed in October. I just finished the one, the other one's this weekend.
Cool.
Um, and what I found is this is not typical. So
Yeah.
I'm moving very, very fast.
Yes, you are.
Um, but one thing that I realized was when it aligns with you, when it's something you want to do, literally the universe wants to throw it at you. And everything that I've ever wanted to go after that was in alignment, not what I thought I wanted to do, not what my idol was doing and I wanted to mimic them, like what
Right.
was meant for me, everything just flows so easily. So I'm really focused on acting right now. But I also realize that acting is not the greatest income when you're starting out. So I'm also not trying, I am. I invested a lot of money this year into building an Amazon business. So
Okay.
I have a couple collabs and partnerships with that are still in the product development stages.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can I ask you what the book was that you're the lead character in?
Yes, it's called A Court of Thorn and Roses. So
Okay.
they call it like the acronym ACOTAR, and the main character is Feyre, and she is so mean. It's not even funny. The book series starts out with her like learning archery because she has to basically hunt for her family that
Hmm.
used to be rich and lost all their money and now they're not. So she's kind of the one who's fearless and going out and, providing for them. And then she gets thrown into the world of the Fae, and it's this whole love
Okay.
story. And it's really, really good.
Yeah, I saw one of your Instagram posts was a great picture. I don't know if I can find it real quick. Was a great picture of you with the bow and arrows. So the cross. I think it might have been a crossbow,
Yeah,
but
it's a compact bow.
compact
Yeah,
bow.
that was
I can't
something that
find
I
it. I
actually
can't
picked
find it now,
after
but
I read Hunger Games. I'm like, you know what? That seems like fun. Let's try it. And I got a bow, and off the bat, naturally, I was just so good at it, like
Well, that's
bullseye,
good.
even when they were calibrating it. So that was kind of fun.
That's exciting, and I love your energy and the fact that you're just going after what you want, and it's so true. When you really commit to what you want to do, that all these opportunities Actually, I don't think they open up. I think we notice them. They're
I
always there.
that
You
is
know,
a
we just
good.
have to be open to the possibility that they're there and trust that they're there for us.
Hmm.
You know, there's so much abundance in the world, even in, you know, what seemed like scarce times over the last couple of years, that, you know, if we're open to the abundance, there's so much we can do with where we're going and what, you know, what we're doing with our lives and to follow our dreams. You know, I totally understand about rebranding. I spent the end of last year rebranding my business, and um, you know, I left corporate America 7 years ago, and now I'm working with, you know, I don't know if Darian told you when he was
No, he didn't.
getting on the show. I'm actually a licensed massage therapist and certified essential oil coach.
Love it.
So, so instead of just helping everybody, I mean, I will help everybody, of course, but
Mhm.
I also narrowed my focus at the end of last year to helping men to connect back to themselves, and in so doing so begin the greatest adventure of their lives.
Mm.
So that's why I think, you know, with your bio and everything, it fits right into everything I'm doing. You know, I mean, I'm focusing on men, and particularly men who love men. But you know,
Love.
I redesigned my logo, and it really ties into everything that I'm doing, and launched this pod. You know, my website launched on March 17th, and my this podcast launched on March 22nd. So I've been
I
doing it
love that.
every week since then, and all sorts of, you know, and it's adventures in connection is my tagline. So it's really all about connections and the connections we can make with each other, with ourselves, with you know. So sometimes we do a meditation, and sometimes I have you know, one of my favorite drag queens on, who is really all about, I don't know if you know Dixie Longate, but she's all about really a positive mental you know, positive attitude, and she spent all of last year really helping lift people up through her humor, which is a bit
Unique.
unique. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Check out my Facebook page. I just
I definitely
reposted
will.
her
Yeah.
motivational Monday technique, her motivational Monday post. But it's really I have a totally eclectic type guests, but they're really all about connections. And I like to let my audiences see different ways to make connections with our, you know, with ourselves, and with, you know, and with, because when we really have to connect to ourselves first
Yeah.
before we can connect to other people. Because who are people connecting to? And if we don't know who we are, how are they supposed to know who we are?
Yes. I couldn't
You
agree
know,
more. Yeah. It's one of the things
so
that I've probably been most passionate about. Um, because even though that viral moment I had was maybe 4 years ago, I still get people to this day who just come across it, and they
uh-huh.
always DM me because they're in the same place. They're lost in life. And they're lost in life because they don't know who they are.
Right.
And I think it's one of the saddest things in today's culture because we're just trained to follow the flow of what everyone else is doing, which makes zero sense because then nobody's unique and everyone's the same. And then we're living the lives for someone else's,
Right.
enjoyment. And that's no way to live. And that was one of the things that when I got really, really deep into discovering and figuring out who am I, because I became obsessed with the question, what's my purpose? If there's
Okay.
no reason for me here, what's the point? There has to be a purpose. There's a reason I'm here. What is it? And it was my obsession for 3, 4 years. And the more I tried to figure it out and force it to happen, the further I seemed to stray from what my alignment actually was. So for me, learning about myself, there were so many different avenues I took, anything from like personality tests, like a disc profile, the Myers Briggs, Enneagram, all that. I took everything. But then there's other niches that I went down. I kind of got into the spiritual path. So I learned about human design, which is crazy.
Uh-huh.
I learned about there's a soul contract blueprint that has to do with like your birth date and astrology and stuff. Insanely accurate and insightful. I got into there was another one. There was a feminine archetype. I really got into like the masculine, feminine
Okay.
energies and how to really just embody who you truly are, whatever it is, masculine, feminine, doesn't have to do with gender. And that was really insightful. And it kind of actually made me realize that I was living more in my masculine because that was how
Okay.
my mother lived her life. She was
Okay.
a very big go getter, go after it, hustle, like very direct approach, all that kind of stuff. And I realized that's a very masculine energy. I'm not at my core. I'm a very feminine person at my core. I can bring
Mhm.
my masculine in to get the
Right.
things that I want to do, but it wasn't who I was. So I had to switch my core, tested that out a little bit. I'm like, this feels way better. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. So even the littlest things I didn't even realize were part of my identity. I wasn't even living truth to that. So there's been a lot of different things that I've tried over the years to really figure out who I was. And now everyone who asks me, how'd you get out of a rut? I'm like, you got to figure out who you are first. Try everything. I think it
Yep.
was Matthew McConaughey who had a college speech, and he said something to the effect of, in all the things that you try, your failures are the most important because it helps you eliminate
Nate.
all the
Yeah.
things you're not. And I was like, holy shit, I didn't even think about it in that way. So that's kind of
You know,
what
a lot of the different self-help gurus, talk about, even I think Tony Robbins does, and a whole bunch of
yeah.
different people. It's your failures are what really help you, because A, you're moving,
Mhm.
you're doing something. B, like you said, you're finding out okay, that wasn't it. Or you're finding out that was close to it, but how can I get to it? Am I going in the right direction, or am I not going in the right direction? And the more you try, the more confidence that you actually build, even through the nose. And
Yeah.
you have one of them, in the essential oil business, it is a multi-level marketing company. So we say the MLM stands for making life meaningful,
Hmm.
um, because you can make people's lives meaningful through it, but you also get, they say your goal today is to get 10 no's,
Hmm. Yep.
because then you're going to get some yeses. So
Yeah.
a lot of the challenges that they give out. I'm currently doing. I don't know if you're familiar with Eric Worre, but he is like the
I
guru
am.
of you know really taking multi-level marketing to an art and a science, and really pushing forward the the positive aspects of it, and being a true believer, but also honoring the goodness in it, and we're really out there to help others. But he always gives little challenges. He says, go get 10 no's today, and that's a great way of
Yeah. It
living.
gets rid of the fear of rejection too. The more you experience it, the more you're numb to it and it doesn't bother you anymore. It builds resiliency.
And
So
the other thing it does is, it also, when you do get a yes, you can enjoy it more,
yeah.
because A, you worked hard for it, and B, it's you can't enjoy the warmth until you felt the cold.
It gives you the perspective. Yep.
It gives you that perspective. You can't enjoy the yes until you've had the no. And
Yeah.
when we really take that into heart, it really makes a difference,
I agree.
in
And
our
it's
lives.
that because I love the network marketing world. It was actually my introduction into personal development.
Okay.
College when I was in Los Angeles, funny enough. Um, and all the things that I learned was mostly mindset. They could train you on the business, they can train you on the structure of how to grow a company, how to network, everything does not matter unless you
Mhm.
get your mindset right.
Right.
And it's the foundation of literally everything you want in life.
Yeah, and it's I'm like I said, I'm taking the year-long course with Eric, And the first month of it was, we had Mindset Mondays every Monday. We had different mindset thought leaders, teaching us every week. So it has been, it's been definitely an interesting program to go through, but a lot of it is all mindset. They teach you a lot of the tools too, but it is, are you going, how are you trying to just make money? Are you really trying to help people? And when you,
Why? What do you want out of it? What
right.
are, like, everyone is different. Everyone has different motivations.
Thank God.
It's one of the things that I've gone through all of Tony Robbins' events. I love him. The man changed my life. And one of the things that he always talks about is leverage. You have to know yourself well enough to know what your own leverage is. And then you have to use that leverage on yourself to get you to do the things that you need to do to get to where you want to be. Because not everything's going to be, cherries and roses.
Right.
Not everything's going to be easy. When you're in alignment with what you want, it comes easier. Opportunities present themselves way quicker, and it just kind of falls into your lap. But there is still some work involved. So the people who are like, oh, I'm just going to manifest everything I want in life, to a degree, like, you will get them into your life, but there's still going to be things that you're going to have to do that maybe you don't want to. I'm a night owl. I don't like waking up early. Most days, I probably don't even wake up before 11 o'clock in the morning. So for me, things that I want to do, this movie that I just filmed, there were days I had to wake up at 5 a.m. I usually go to bed at like 2 or 3. So for me, that was a huge change. It was uncomfortable. I didn't like it. Did it anyway. So,
right, because you're not going to be able to make the movie if you don't follow the time schedule.
Exactly. So my leverage was, I really want to be an actress. I have to do this because all the goals and dreams that I have are in alignment, and this is what I have to do. So it's a very, very interesting thing when you're able to figure out yourself enough to leverage it.
That's, you're speaking my language.
Yeah. Love it.
It is definitely, it's, words to take to heart. And, we talk about being yourself, and because why would I want to be Taylor, and why would Taylor want to be Wayne? I might admire a lot of the things that Taylor's doing, but I'm not Taylor. Taylor's the best Taylor. I'm the best Wayne, So, be who you are, but in order to do that, you have to really figure out who you are. And take off all of those trappings that parents, society, teachers, school, have put on you to be who you are, or to mold you into what society thinks you should be, and whether that's through, gender stereotypes or whatever, because we all have that divine masculine and that divine feminine in us.
Yeah.
And we have to find where that piece fits into what we're doing. And we can't just say, okay, I'm a man, so I'm not going to do anything I'm not going to honor the divine feminine piece. And you, like you said, you were working in the masculine side. You had to honor the feminine a little bit more, but I'm sure you still have that masculine side and you put it in balance.
Yeah.
So it's really important
for certain tasks and certain things. Like my core everyday life, I'm so divinely feminine. It's crazy. But there's times where I need a pull from my masculine energy because I have to get things done.
Yep.
Everyone has both, like the polarity of everything, yin and yang, the opposites, good and bad, like whatever it is, everything has a polar opposite. And it's useful in whatever, you're trying to figure out.
So, so it's, when our mutual friend Darian connected us, and when he told me some of the stuff, I said, "Oh, this is like you're the perfect guest for my show," because it's really living your life, and we're these are living lives because we're doing it live, but we are living our lives to our truth, which is then and people see that when you're living your life to your truth, because they see you, the energy created, the energy given off, the auras are so much more powerful and strong, which attract more things to yourself that fit those energies. So, manifesting is, you mentioned manifesting. I think manifesting can be important, but if you don't know what you want to manifest, you're not going to get anything. You really have to do that core work first to figure out, okay, what am I going to manifest, or what should I be manifesting? It's one thing to manifest a parking spot in New York City, which has happened a couple of times.
That is a great rarity. Yeah.
I had it actually happen. It's kind of funny. I'll tell you the story real quick.
Yes, please.
I was visiting a friend down and he was in, I don't know, I went over a bridge, not in Manhattan, but one of the other ones, Queens. I think he's in Queens. And he's like, oh, well, I've got money for a parking garage because we're never going to find a spot. And the whole way down, I'm thinking, thank you, universe, for the parking spot that I'm going to find where I need it to be. And I said, don't worry, we're going to find a spot right where we need to be. And I picked him up at his apartment, and we were going up into the heights there. And we got up and we pulled around the corner, and somebody pulled out of a spot right where we needed to be. And he laughs about it to this day, But
everything is, I think we manifest literally everything, whether it's good or bad. For me, I always get prime parking spots. It doesn't matter. My goal and my thought is, I'm going to drive to the front anyway. We're going to see how close I can get, because usually there's one open. And if my thought is there's always one open, then it manifests. There's always one open. And if there's not, okay, we'll go a little further back. No big deal.
And part of that is also, if someone pulls in front of you into it, just thank them for taking that spot, because obviously they needed it.
They needed it more. Everything happened.
And putting that, rather than cussing them for, that was my spot, I was waiting longer, and we keep a positive energy. Likes attract. So if you were to take, I don't know if you knew this, but if you were to take 4 tuning forks and put them, 4 different keys, but put them at a set of 4 at 4 different parts of a stadium, and you hit the C on one side, the other 3 C's will ring.
That's cool. I did not know.
Because their likes attract.
Makes sense.
Everything. When you put out high vibrations, you're going to attract high vibrations. You put out low vibrations, you're going to attract low vibrations. So, it's the power of positive thinking is really, it's not just a joke. It's true. We are energetic beings. And so, my desk has energy to it. Not as much energy as me, but
yes.
Everything vibrates at a certain energy. And if we live in those higher realms, the love, the caring, peace, that kind of stuff, versus the anger and bitterness and that kind of stuff, which is lower energy, we can, really be in a better place. And, we talk about that with essential oils as well, because the oils have different vibrations and they can help you.
I've heard that. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And it's funny, when you were talking about, the name of this podcast and everything, I actually have a tattoo on my arm. You can't see it because it's white ink.
Okay.
See? You can kind of see it there.
I can see there's words. I can't read it what they are.
It says, live what you love. It's literally my life motto. It's how I live my life. Everything that I do is because I want to, or it's doing things I don't want to get things that I want. So I'll never do anything. I'll never have a job that I dislike unless it's a means to an end that I need. And living what I love has been what I lived by for the last couple of years now. And funny enough, I actually got the tattoo when I was in Bali, where I met Darian.
Okay.
It's definitely been a great focus for me. Every single day I look at it, and it kind of just changes my energy and vibration throughout the day.
Good. And do I have the right spelling of your Instagram there on the screen?
You do, yes.
Yeah. So if people want to get a hold of you, they can follow you on Instagram there. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you just hang out in the green room for a second, I will wrap up the show and I'll be right back to chat with you.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Thanks. Well, what else is coming up in Wayne's World? So let me tell you about my mentor program, which starts October 24th. It's a way for men to connect with themselves. We use essential oils. We use community. We build a little community for a month. Then really simple. Step one, it's just a 15-minute registration orientation call. And step two is starting October 24th, we join a small group of men for an adventure in renewal. We use essential oils, we use touch, we use massage, we use all sorts of things. It's run over Zoom, so anybody's welcome. And to find it, it's waynelease.com/renewal. So you can go to the website and start the process there. And next week, I've got Tracy Talon Podolsky joining me, and we're going to be talking about finding a passion and bringing people together to support that passion. So as always, I encourage you all to go out, make a connection, and live your best lives. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next week.